Carl, thank you so much for coming on. Some news from earlier in the day here on State of the Union. We hear Jerry Nadler, who's of course going to be running a key House committee very, very soon, saying that what we're learning about Michael Cohen and President Trump and the hush money payments, that could, he believes, be an impeachable offense. What's your interpretation?
It certainly looks like they are the kind of offenses that would call for impeachment hearings into the conduct of the President of the United States. There's something much more important than just impeachment going on, and that is the fact that Donald Trump, for the first time in his life, is cornered. As a businessman, he always could bully his way out of a corner. He always could buy his way out, cheat his way out. He is boxed in by Mueller, and the people around him know that he is. And it's on the question of collusion, possible collusion with Russia, and unquestionably a massive obstruction of justice that is now demonstrable for all to see, led by the President of the United States to cover up whatever the dealings of himself, his family, his aides were with Russia. We don't know what those dealings were in detail, but it's clear that Mueller is now connecting the dots between a massive obstruction intended to hide the truth about the Trump campaign, Trump, his business organization, and his family from the investigators.
From your sources, from the folks you talked to, how much longer do you expect this to go on for? Because I think there is a sort of exhaustion among many members of the public and even some members of the media about this ongoing scandal.
Certainly there have been no leaks out of Mueller's shop, and we don't know how long it's going to go on, except that he keeps developing new information. And as we saw in the important filings with the court on Friday, this is crucial information that contradicts directly what President Donald Trump has been saying over the weekend, namely that somehow he's been exonerated by the special prosecutor. To the contrary, the opposite is the case. And also, I've been talking to people in Washington, and his aides, including his legal team, are well aware that at least one of the principal witnesses who has been interviewed by Mueller, a major figure in this investigation, came out of being interviewed by Mueller and said they know everything about Russia. Meaning all of the presidents, Donald Trump, his business dealings in Russia, as well as Russian figures trying to be in touch with the campaign. Does that mean there is a conspiracy or collusion? We don't know. But what we do know is that all of the lies, the most important lies told by Trump, told by his son, told by his campaign ads, told by Flynn, told by Manafort, and you can go on and on, they're all about Russia. Why is this if there's no collusion, if there's nothing there, if there's nothing to investigate? It's all about Russia.
There's a really interesting piece of reporting in the newspaper that's your alma mater, the Washington Post, this morning's Post, describing Trump's reaction to all these revelations, the damning new information. The Post says the White House is adopting what one official termed a shrugged shoulders strategy for the Mueller findings, calculating that most GOP base voters will believe whatever the president tells them to believe. Your reaction to that?
Well, so far it's been true of the base. They are prepared and have been so far to believe anything that Trump tells them. However, it doesn't mean that the base is all of the Republican Party if this conspiracy to obstruct justice is as huge as it looks. At some point, some kind of important Republicans are going to peel away from defending Trump, and then perhaps this house of cards will start to fall a bit, because nobody wants to be defending the indefensible. And it looks certainly on the obstruction and what that obstruction was about, that we may be heading toward the indefensible for even many of the president's backers. Not the most adamant of them, not all of that 40% out there, but in Congress, there are two things happening in Congress. One is what you're hearing in public from the congressmen who are Republicans, and two, what they're saying in private to each other, and they are shaken in private, many of them, and they are very worried about where this is going to go, and they're also very worried about Donald Trump's conduct stuck since the midterm elections. When he became Trump more aware of where the special prosecutor was headed, how boxed in he is, he has not been acting rationally in the regard of many members of Republicans in Congress. He has been acting, in their words, not my words or journalists' words, unhinged, much more than usual. And you go to my colleague Bob Woodward's book, where those closest to Donald Trump in terms of being his aides, cabinet members, we saw it in what Tillerson said the other day, they believe, many of them, that Donald Trump himself is a threat to the national security of this country. And we are seeing it as well in his reaction to Mueller. You know, we could be in for a very, very rough ride the next few months as Trump tries to fight this. We've never been in this territory with Donald Trump. We were there with Richard Nixon, but Trump is a very different figure who has absolutely no regard for the rule of law, for the primacy of law, for tradition, for what the White House traditionally stands for. And this could be an event that makes the world tremble. We just don't know. What we do know is that Mueller is well on his way to connecting the dots in a way that is very grievously affecting the President of the United States and his presidency.
After you and Woodward exposed Watergate, you said Nixon was a criminal president and it was a criminal presidency. Is the Trump presidency a criminal presidency?
I don't think we know completely yet. I think it's very obvious that there has been a criminal conspiracy led by the President of the United States to obstruct justice. It's hard to see otherwise in the filings that have been made public thus far. But on top of that, we also know that there is criminal behavior by Donald Trump in the Southern District of New York case in terms of ordering the payment of, or approving the payment of hush money to Stormy Daniels and another woman that Michael Cohen testified about. The purpose of paying that hush money was to defraud voters, to make voters unaware that this crucial matter of character that Trump had paid these women for their silence would never be revealed while the campaign was on. So in that sense, there also is the prima facie evidence of a criminal president. But the connect the dots aspect of this massive obstruction, what is this obstruction about? It is about Russia and all things Russia, and that is what Mueller has been charged with. And the individual who the White House is aware of, who came back saying they know everything about Russia, this is about Russia in terms of what Mueller was charged with investigating.
Carl, thank you so much. I'm grateful to have your expertise this morning. Thank you.